What's up? So today we will be doing the perfect/best episodes of Dexter series. I surely should change it to the best episode of Dexter series playlist. Because if I'm just gonna keep calling this the best episode of Dexter episode series, then why not just have a playlist called that? So anyway, we got Dexter season 5, episode 1, My Bad. And the reason why I'm doing this episode because after my review of the last time, The Getaway, it would be very weird not to look at the following episode, My Bad. If this wasn't if this episode wasn't connected to the last one, there would be no way I would be reviewing it. Every episode I reviewed this series. Like I reviewed the first episode of Dexter, then I reviewed the season 2 finale, then I reviewed the season 3 episode, then I reviewed season 4 finale, season 4 episode 9 and 12, and now here we are at season 5. So this episode picks up, literally starts off with the ending of the last episode where Dexter discovered Rita's dead body, and people are starting to ask him questions, but Dexter keeps saying Rita's inside. It was him. And Deb's like, holy crap, you FBI guys, because at the end of the last season, the FBI guys now have totally control of the Trinity case, and now have totally control of the Trinity case. Forgot to mention that in the review, which was an hour ago that I just reviewed it, but which I haven't uploaded yet, which I will upload that review. So anyway, now they have the Trinity case. And so Deb's like, holy crap, guy. So meanwhile, we get Miami Metro taking a look at Rita's dead body in the bathtub, and Masuka mentions how he always wanted to get with her. Really, Masuka, you really had to choose a moment like this to mention how hot Rita is and how you wanted to be with her. Masuka will never change. Even with Rita's death, he's still making sex jokes. So anyway, he mentions about how he always wanted to get with her, which is like, dude, this is not the time for you to be making that joke. So Quinn mentions, has Trinity ever tried to go after a wife? Quinn, you literally did this in the second episode of season 4, where Trinity went after a wife. Literally, has the new writers not watched last season, so they completely forgot that and wrote into the story? Because Quinn's like, did Trinity ever go after someone's wife? He literally went after. Actually, more, he's like, did he ever go after a wife in the bathtub? But and then Masuka's like, there's a first time for everything. But literally, he went after Charlie Grant in the third episode. Yeah, the third episode. So what are they talking about? So yeah. So they're like, hey, I wonder who did this, but I wonder why Trinity would do this. But LaGuardia has to remind them and the audience that the FBI now owns this case. And they're like, hey, this is Dexter's wife. And they're like, I know this, but she's like, I know this is Dexter's wife, but this is not our case anymore. And he's like, but of course he yells at him and says, Angel, don't. So yeah. So he's like, well, she's in shock too. So meanwhile, Dexter, one of the FBI guys, is like, hey, Dexter, why'd you say it was you? And Dexter's like, I said that. I don't remember doing anything. But then Deb's already in the truck with Harrison, saying, Dexter, we gotta go home. And he's like, hey, we gotta ask some questions. But Deb's like, you guys should be finding Trinity, which unbeknownst to them, Trinity's already dead, but still. And he's like, FBI stands for effing bunch of idiots. And yeah, and he's like, hey, if you want to talk to Dexter, you'll have to interview him. And the guy's like, I'll do that. Okay. So meanwhile, at home, Deb's basically telling Dexter, you shouldn't be saying it was you. It'll just confuse people. So yeah. The next day, Dexter gets a call from Aster, Cody, and the grandparents because they're still at Disney World, and they're wanting to talk to Rita, but Dexter says she's in the shower, and he's like, hey, I need to tell you something, so come by Deb's apartment and not the house. So yeah, that's happening. So Dexter and Deb would go to a funeral service where this guy is telling them all about what they're gonna do for Rita. But all Dexter questions is how this guy can be so calm when he's so emotional. So Dexter decides to get out of there until he sees a wife grieving for her husband and has a random flashback of the night he went on that date with Rita. And of course, Dexter being Dexter, he's not paying attention to Rita, he's paying attention to his next kill. Which, yeah. So, yeah. So next day, Aster and Cody and the grandparents come up and they're like, Dexter, we missed you. Where's Rita? And he has to say, guys, I have something to tell you. And Dexter basically gives the worst your mom's dead speech ever by saying some man came in and killed your mom. And she's like, what? And Cody has to say, she's dead? But Aster's like, no, that's not true. And then everyone's just like, Dexter, what's going on? You told us to go to Disney World. No, we didn't, lady. Unless we missed something. Dexter did. Rita was the one that told us that they were taking them to Disney World. Dexter didn't say a thing about it. I don't know what she's talking about. So Aster's obviously mad and knocks Dexter's Mickey hat off his head, and Dexter tries to talk to her, but Aster says leave her alone. But Dexter tries to budge, and Aster basically blames him, saying about how he doesn't even care. And Dexter's like, yes, I do. And she's like, no, you don't. Look on your face. And he's like, your mom. And Rita and Aster says about how Rita's dead and how Dexter doesn't even care. And she's like, and Dexter says about how he wishes he could have went back in time and stopped this, but Aster said she wishes it was just her, Harrison, Rita, and Cody. Everything was better before Dexter showed up, and she wishes that Dexter was murdered by the Trinity, or Dexter dead in general. But yeah, you know how it is. So Dexter starts thinking, maybe Aster's right. Maybe they really don't need me after all. And as we're talking with Deb, she says that they're staying at a hotel with their grandparents. So she's like, hey, all Reed talked about was you and how you brought goodness into her life. But Dexter's like, Cody's right. Aster's right. And yeah, I like in the previous scene about he looked at her and he says, and she's like, how much he about how, and he's like the one thing he misses about Rita about how much he missed her, but Dexter said how much he lied to her from the very beginning. That was a good scene. But anyway, back to this one. Dexter decides to erase his identity by basically destroying everything on his computer. And Dexter basically tells Deb that she's the perfect mom for Harrison because he needs someone in his life. And Deb tries to say how he's a good person. Dexter says he's not, but Deb tries to basically point out that he still is a good person. That he is a good person. So yeah. So Dexter decides to. So meanwhile, Quinn and Deb are just hanging out at Dexter's house. At Dexter and Rita's house when they start sleeping when Deb gets when they're cleaning, when Deb and Quinn decide to get it up, to do it dirty. But Deb doesn't like that. So meanwhile, Quinn talks to Elliot and is like, "Hey, I thought you and Rita were friends." And he's like, "We were friends, but we're friends." But he tried to kiss Rita. Dexter found out and punched him out. So Quinn tries to basically pitch the LaGuerta that Dexter might have had something to do with Rita's murder because if it wasn't Dexter, they'd be thinking like the Texas and 100% and 90% when a wife is murdered, the 90% is that the husband did it. But Deb gets a call. LaGuerta gets a call from the FBI about Dexter missing his interview. She calls Deb. Deb goes back to the house to find the cat lady from apartment B feeding ice cream Dexter's son. She's obviously not happy. She calls Dexter, but her line gets cut out. Meanwhile, she keeps calling Dexter, but Dexter keeps not answering. Dexter has burned everything. Dexter's burned everything, so he now goes on his boat. They play the exact same song they played in the premiere episode, along with some H2O music from the Mermaid Show. So anyway, so Dexter basically meets some jerk guy. He's basically. So he tells Dexter to leave, but Dexter doesn't, and tells the guy about his wife murdered. And he's like, "I'm sorry for the loss, but Rita can suck his penis." So Dexter does what any rational guy would do. He takes this random weapon and beats the guy's head in. So that's when Harry showed up. Hallucinogenic Harry shows up. Hallucinogenic Harry hasn't been in the episode for that long? So he never shows up randomly, basically being like, "That's the first thing you've done since she died, Dexter," and Dexter freaks out. So meanwhile, at Rita's funeral, which her mom does not attend randomly, I don't know why. I guess again another moment where Rita's mom, or Gail's actress, was not available for this episode, so she literally is not mentioned or brought up. So Quinn tries to tell Deb that the fact is that he saw Elliot kissing Rita, but she's more shocked at the fact that Dexter is there. So yeah, so either there was this scene where Quinn and Masuka were reading Dexter's report to the FBI, and he tells them about the fact is that Elliot kissed Rita. So yeah, so Dexter gives this very good speech, and that's kind of where the episode ends. So yeah, let's get a flashback between Dexter and Rita about when Dexter first called her. And again, Aster's age is very inconsistent because in this flashback, Rita says Aster is 9, but in other episodes, she's either 8 or 10. So her age is very inconsistent. I don't know how they mess up her age each time they bring it up, but Aster's age is very inconsistent. Because first Dexter says she's 8. I think in one episode in season 3 he's like she's 8, but in this episode she's 9. But then in season 4 she's 12. So how old is Aster really? I know in this season she's 12 or 13, but in other seasons is she 8 or 9? Just tell us, show. Just tell us, is she 8 or 9? Which one is it? And yeah, which one is it? Is she 8 or is she 9? I don't know. And yeah, and I think this episode marks the final appearance of Elliot, as I don't think he is. Yeah, this marks the final appearance of Elliot because Dexter moved out of his and Rita's house. So we never see Elliot again after this episode because since Dexter and Deb moved Dexter back into Deb's apartment, Dexter and the kids back in Deb's apartment, we are never gonna see Elliot again after this episode. Wow. His final appearance was just revealing to Quinn that he and Rita had something more going on, that he loved her. That's his last appearance. Wow. He felt more as a character in season 4 than he did in season 5. Because, in season, people were, Dexter was wondering how come, people were wondering, oh, Elliot was crying more over Rita's death than Dexter was. But yeah, goodbye, Elliot. You were an okay character. But yeah, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you next time for our next coverage of another episode of Season 5, because we do that now. We cover 2 episodes a season. So anyway, this was the perfect episode to end off Rita's character, because she was annoying as crap for most of the season until kind of way down the line she kind of got okay. I don't know how you can do that. How can you make a character hate a character for most of the season until the end where they make her an okay character? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how Dexter not needs therapy, because. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for when we review the next episode of Season 5. Dun 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 dun.